Well, first I would want to say that Brazil is an important country. I think it's becoming more of an important country, and it will be a more important country in the future for a number of reasons. The size of Brazil and its population being one of them. Some countries reach their potential at different times as other countries. While other countries are in decline, some countries are finding their way into a better way. So we don't know what the future of Brazil and what the future of the U.S. will be in this regard, except that I have the sense that the United States is in decline. And that's a serious problem for all other people in the world that want to be free, that want to have their countries being independent, because the United States, whatever its faults, has been a benevolent superpower in that it isn't forced other countries into a global system where it can drain them of their resources. That's not going to be true of China and Russia. If China and Russia and Iran become the leading world powers, they are going to rape all the countries of the rest of the world to aggrandize themselves. This has been the pattern of these ancient imperial Asiatic countries from time immemorial. The Persian Empire, the Mongol Empire, the Chinese Empire. They don't have a benevolent history. They do not have benevolent traditions. They have traditions of tyranny and absolute control. Only in the West, in Western countries, coming out of Europe, coming out of Western Europe, do we see this other tradition that is best embodied in North and South America. How successful it's been in the Americas differs from countries, from country to country. But right now, I think the political experiment in the United States is failing. Nobody recognizes that it's failing yet, but it's failing. And I think that what you said, Louise, is about a struggle. The struggle in Brazil is exactly the same struggle as the struggle in the United States. And we're merely at a different place in that struggle. And I think we can look ahead and see and learn from the experience of Brazil, and definitely in a way, if you and your countrymen find a way out, it's going to be a tremendous thing for us. Truly, I mean, I don't think that as far as what you want to happen in the United States holds the nuclear firepower needed to keep China and Russia in check. And nuclear, let me put it this way, strategic nuclear supremacy is something you cannot stop. Once China or Russia achieve it, once the United States falls to a level where it cannot check China and Russia with strategic nuclear weapons, they will declare themselves the owners of the world, and they will use those weapons to become predominant, and they will make the government that you have now a permanent thing in your country, and they will be completely non-responsive to anybody in your country except the people in Moscow and Beijing. And that's what I observe. That's what I see. I see Lula da Silva go to Moscow and sit there with Putin, and you see him grinning there, sitting next to Putin, and you think, who is this guy? Who are these people? See, they're all part of this new global system that's going to turn us into slaves, turn the rest of us into slaves. And it's very sad. The United States is not there, is not aware, is not fighting. We lost the Cold War. We didn't win it. We got tricked. And I can count the number of people in this country in positions of responsibility who have this awareness on the fingers of one hand that I know of. And most of these politicians you see running for office, they don't understand. Trump doesn't understand. Carson doesn't understand. The best of them do not understand. Cruz doesn't understand. Although they understand a great deal, they don't really understand what the people in your country in Brazil, what you and Olavo de Carvalho and Alan have understood. They are not there yet. You guys are ahead of the curve.
Absolutely.
You guys are ahead of the curve. And I don't know what we have to go through in America, but this change in America's mood is very important because it's a precursor to the kind of change that you are having in your country, that we have to have here. What's going to trigger it? What could trigger it? I don't know. I know that this terrorism game in Europe and the Middle East, this double game the Russians are playing, is calculated to win over the right wing and to further confuse everybody about who the enemy is and what the game really is. You know, making the game about Islamic terrorism. This is diversionary. Islamic terrorism is a serious problem, but Russia and China, they have the nuclear and biological weapons to kill every Muslim on the planet. You know, I mean, let's just put everything in perspective. The real game, the real strategy, when we have to think strategically, is that this is the real power. They have the real weapons. Islam is a problem because our left opened our borders and let them come in so they can shoot people up in Paris and they can buy airplane tickets and crash them into our skyscrapers. That happened because of our irresponsibility of our leaders, who are basically, you know, the same kind of leaders you have with Dilma Rousseff and Lula da Silva. The same kind of mentality is informing them. The same kind of shadowy political underside is moving all this in this direction.